Inbound comes to top to Mayo. Top to Ilyasova. He wants to hand it back and he can't. Gives it to Carter Williams. Plays busted. Now they're playing basketball. Carter Williams driving. On favors. Blocked by Derek. Pulled out of the air by Hood. 40 seconds to play.
These dead favors, we're ready to tip off. Are you? Let's do this.
Tremendous defensive effort again by the Jazz all weekend long. What the Jazz are doing is truly amazing. We'll touch on that, plus the impressive team to the NBA, and it's a month behind. We'll look back at the month of February. It's all coming up next on Tip Off. Hope everybody's doing well. Winter has arrived. You can see the snow falling behind me this morning. If you're watching it live, if you're on audio, just trust me. That's the case. I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA Insider. You can follow me on Facebook at David Locke as well as on Locked On Sports. We have the Locked On Sports Twitter handle, and we have the Locked On Sports Google Plus community for you all to jump aboard. So thank you very much. If you get a chance to leave us a nice review and 5 stars on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever podcatcher you're using, greatly appreciated. And if you want to tell 3 friends that we do this, can't hurt. All right, I want to start off the show sending my best thoughts and condolences to the Corradini family. I was fortunate enough in my first stint in Salt Lake City to know Andrea Nan pretty well and for a period of time, and then got to know Dee Dee and their family, and awesome woman. I mean, changed Salt Lake, as awesome people are, ruffled a few feathers along the way. That's what awesome people do. Fought through a bunch of stuff. Got stuff done, changed Salt Lake City and Utah forever. And thoughts to her and her family as we open up this tip-off today. Just wanted to get that head out there. So we head on the road trip today. We'll fly out today. You guys will enjoy the powder for the week while I'm gone. But right now, let's hit the NBA 5.
This is Rudy Gobert, and you are Locked On Jazz.
It's a bunch of teams that are very impressive right now. I mean, very impressive. Started off with the Clippers, who, I have discounted a few times this year. Originally, I picked the Clippers against Cavaliers in the NBA Finals. That was my opening of the year pick. I had Clippers versus Oklahoma City in the Western Conference Finals. Frankly, I still think that might happen because I think if Oklahoma City gets the Warriors in the first round, I might have to take Oklahoma City. But what the Clippers are doing right now is pretty impressive. Chicago's beaten up, so that was a fortuitous scheduling. But frankly, without Blake Griffin, they've survived, and I think a lot of us had them sliding, possibly not surviving, and DeAndre Jordan has just become a better and better force along the way. They've won 6 of 8 now with wins over Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Memphis, and Chicago. It's pretty good. I think you got to, and their schedule lightens up a little bit here, but not a lot. That was the whole point when Blake went down, that this team had a crazy schedule and could really fall off the map. They have done nothing of the sort. Doc Rivers, once again, I think, established himself, but Chris Paul does too. Chris Paul's one of the, in the MVP talk right now, we're all talking Anthony Davis, James Harden, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook. Doesn't Chris Paul at this point have to be in that conversation also? I would say it's a 6-person race that has to be in there. Credit to New Orleans also. They haven't beaten anybody any good, but they also are so injured without Anthony Davis, without Ryan Anderson, that, matchups against Miami, I guess Toronto's a decent win, Brooklyn, Miami, and Denver, nothing's a gimme for that team right now. And so they've won 5 straight and are staying with Oklahoma City in that playoff race. Yesterday's performance by James Harden was an all-timer. I mean, he was terrific. Houston, maybe, in the process of discussing all the analytics and everything else that is going on, the idea that Houston, without Dwight Howard, is winning the way they are might be a testament to their commitment to analytics. They're doing something that is allowing them to succeed at a rate that's higher than what you would naturally look at that team and believe they could do. They're 41-18. That's where I think you got to look and say, okay, they're considerably better considering than with that roster than what we think they should be. And Dwight Howard's only played 32 games, and he's played them sub to what Dwight Howard usually is. Why? So what is it that they have? I think maybe James Harden's better than anyone thinks, but I also think their belief in analytics has pushed them above everybody at a level where that 5 or 6% that they're using this stuff is giving them an edge. And maybe it's a little edge, but I think they've taken a team that wouldn't be 41-18 and turned them into a 41-18 team. MVP race took a really interesting twist this week when LeBron goes in and beats up Steph Curry and shuts him down, and then James Harden goes and beats LeBron and matches him. That's going to have an interesting twist. I think voters want kind of seminal moments. That might be one right there in which you look at and try to figure out, okay, if James Harden wins the MVP, it's this weekend in which it happened. Less impressive teams, by the way. The Raptors have lost 5 in a row. The Wizards are absolutely terrible. Those teams seem to have fallen apart and are somewhat paper tigers along the way right now. If the playoffs started today, Warriors, Oklahoma City, Memphis, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and Portland against the Clippers. Unreal. All right, one thing I always like to look at is at the end of a month and who is the best in the NBA for that month. Matt Harpring at dinner the other night brought up an interesting point that February is the most inconsistent month that's out there, that for NBA players, they look at it and they there are 30-plus games left. They can't dig in for the home stretch because they got a lot left. The All-Star break gets in. You get really inconsistent performance, he said, which I thought it's an interesting perspective on his part. He said, okay, March hits and teams will hit. Oklahoma City was the number 1 team in the NBA for the month, and the number 1 offense. Again, all the criticism of Scott Brooks' offense, but they're number 1. Cavaliers were number 2, Warriors 3, Bulls were impressively 4. The Pacers were 5, the Blazers were 6, and the Utah Jazz were the 7th best team in the NBA in the month of February, and the number 1 defensive team overall. Houston was 8, San Antonio was 9, Clippers were 10. I always like to look at what teams were top 10 in both offense and defense. That, to me, tells me that you're a championship-level team. There's exceptions to that rule, but not often. Cleveland, Golden State, Chicago were the only ones that did that in the month. Now, again, I'll go back. I really thought the argument that was made by Matt was of interest. That hey, February is a weird month. Teams will click in kind of on the beginning of March. Figure out those teams are top 10 in the NBA right now overall. Golden State in both offense and defense. This is interesting. Golden State, Atlanta, Portland, top 10 offense, 6th best defense. Those are the only 3. Now Houston's 12-3, San Antonio's 13-4, Memphis is 11-7. I don't think they're that far off. I think that makes it somewhat interesting, and obviously Cleveland is racing back from being a horrific defensive team, and so their numbers are going to be a little funky at the end of the year. That, my friends, is your NBA 5.
Hi, this is Trevor Booker. I want to hear from you. Call 801-200-3738 and ask me a question. That is 801-200-3738 to ask me a question.
Do we all realize how absolutely amazing what is taking place with the Utah Jazz is? Now, it's only a month. It's only a, whatever period of time you want to look at for it to be, you can. And obviously, we're not raising a banner. We're not building statues. But in regards to the building of a franchise, what's taking place right now is remarkable. I hope that every water cooler conversation around town, I hope everyone gets it. I made a horrific error the other day and went and checked my mentions columns on my Twitter, and 4 of the first 8 things were negative, so I'm done. Don't follow up by telling me something. It's a waste of your time. Oh my gosh. Jazz fans should be freaking out. Not like we're about to win a title, but the rise. We were one of the worst teams in the NBA last year. We were really poor. We were 30th in the league defensively. Some of the progression numbers are are amazing. For the season last year, we allowed 109 points per 100 possessions. This year, we're allowing 104. This month, we allowed 97. All-Star break, 87. I mean, are you kidding? Jazz defense was number 1 in the NBA in the month of February. Are you kidding? Like, that should be flabbergasting. That should blow your mind. To come from last in the NBA for a season to first for a month? Okay, it's crazy. And it's not just Rudy. Hey, Rudy's a huge part of it. But it's not just Rudy. The fact is, it is a collective effort. The Jazz have absolutely, as a group, as a team, become defensive-minded. And the system is in place, and they're buying in. It's stunning. Really. I don't know what you should do. Like, you can't go run around your office and scream. But there's got to be some fan recognition of, like, how nuts this is. This is great. No one in their wildest dreams should have expected what we're seeing right now taking place. And this is how they're winning games. And it's impressive. I love the Bucks win. I kind of like the Bucks win more than I like the San Antonio or the Portland wins. And maybe you like it more after the San Antonio or Portland wins. Where to those games, everything went right. We played well. Things flew. San Antonio came at us. We kept making plays. Everything was good. Nothing was good in the Bucks game. And yet, while committing 20-plus turnovers, shooting below 40% for the first time since the lockout year of 99, the Jazz won a game. You don't win games that you score 11 points in a quarter, shoot below 40%, commit 20 turnovers unless you got something really special going on. The differential progression is incredible. All right, the Jazz in October, those first 2 games got outscored by an average of 15 points. November, it was -5. December was -1. January was really even. It was -0.1. February, it's +4. You don't do this. This doesn't happen. This is remarkable. This is truly, like, should be to some extent. It's not, because of the playoffs and there's other stories that I just ran through. This should be, though, be one of the real stories of the NBA. And I think it's gotten a lot of actually pop. I think people recognize it. I mean, you look at John Hollinger's playoff odds, the Jazz, and what it does is simulate the rest of the season. He has the Jazz ending up like 3 games behind the Phoenix Suns this year. Nobody would have thought that. People of the Suns going to the playoffs, Suns being 3 games behind the Suns? Really? It's insane. And what's more insane about it, and I got to figure out how to phrase this correctly, look at our roster. We have as many guys that I think are rookies as we do that are played in the league. We're playing a second-year point guard, a rookie shooting guard, a fifth-year good veteran at this point, Gordon, Derek, a second-year center who's hardly played. Our backups are veteran and Trevor, who's like, so he's in his 5th year, right? Our oldest player is Elijah Millsap, rookie. Rodney Hood, rookie. Dante Exum, backup, rookie. We don't have a 4th big right now. And yet, they're able to do this. I don't even know how to explain it, how to talk about it, how to get it across. Maybe it's flabbergasting. So I don't know how to get you to understand. You don't do any of the things we're doing. You don't go from 30th to 1st for a month. You just don't do it. You don't make the progression that we've made throughout a season. It just doesn't happen. You don't go from -5 in November to +4 in February. You don't suddenly start allowing 87 points per 100 possessions after the All-Star break when you allowed 109 last year. And you certainly don't do it with a roster this inexperienced, this young in the first year of a system. All the research I've ever done shows that actually it happens in the second year. All the major research I've done shows that the defensive jump happens in the second year. What's interesting about this is the parallel to Portland last year. Portland started the year really terribly defensively. Then they they got better month by month last year defensively, and then this year all of a sudden they're good defensively, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you've improved so much. And I was talking to Terry Stotts. He says, no, we actually did it last year. We just did it month by month, and nobody really noticed. So that then this year, when we suddenly became good defensively, everybody compared it to last year's statistical numbers, and it seemed as though we were off on some crazy different tangent of things. And it's fact that they're the sixth best defensive team in the NBA this year, and everyone there's been a lot of talk equally. It's remarkable. There should be, like I'm saying, there should be a lot of talk about us. I say that a little with trepidation. There should be a lot of talk with us, but except for the fact it means you have to take time away from some other story, and there's frankly a lot of better stories. But if you look at the Blazers last year, they opened the year, they were about 23rd November and December and January, then they were 11th for February and March. So they took that first half or second half season. Pre-All-Star break, they were 23rd in the league defensively. Post-All-Star break, they were 10th. And so this year they're 6th. And Terry's point is, well, we actually made that jump last year, just nobody noticed. Maybe we're going to be the same story. Because we've made the jump this year. I think people have noticed you can't really avoid it. It's such a story. But that's where next year suddenly they'll look at us like, wow, they've jumped from 21st defensively to 5th. And we'll be like, well, not really, because we've gone from 27th in the league pre-All-Star break to 1st in the league post-All-Star break. We've gone from 28th in the league in October and November, 25th in December, 15th in January to 1st in February. That's incredible. Totally incredible. I hope everyone gets it. I got a bunch of other stuff, but I'm leaving it at that. That's the message today. You should be walking around on this Monday just flabbergasted, blown away, stunned, and excited about this turnaround. Have a good day.